I did have sort of like prepared remarks, but I'm going to freelance a little bit because I feel like that was an excellent transition to our presentation. So Clean Energy New Hampshire, one of the key areas that we're hoping to expand the work that we do is to provide that technical assistance to municipal officials, those soldiers on the ground, and try to be something of the connective tissue between those municipal decision makers and the resources that are available to them, which is exactly the what we were hoping to do with Chris. So Chris has spent all summer interfacing with folks who know a lot about how to install electric vehicle charging infrastructure, the barriers to installing that infrastructure, the resources available to communities that are looking to put in public charging, which I think is a key equity issue when we look at the rollout of electric vehicles. On large scale, if you own a home, you can charge at home. If you don't, you need public charging or some other alternative. And so municipal decision makers are really going to be an important actor in this space. And so what is it that you need to do in order to install charging? And that was the task that we put on Chris's plate. And I'll hand it off to him to tell you what he found.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the introduction, Sam, and everybody else that is here today. And yeah, before I get started, huge thanks to all of my mentors in this process. I really worked with a great group of people that got me very connected with, community members in New Hampshire that are interested in electric vehicles. And through a pretty long process of engaging those stakeholders, feel like was able to understand really what New Hampshire's experience has been with planning for electric vehicles and what are the concerns about that planning process. So inside and outside the state, there's really some massive market movements happening with electric vehicles, and adoption is happening right now. It's not necessarily something that is the future, it's already here. And it's just going to be accelerating and spurred by things like legislation like the Inflation Reduction Act, which extends some EV tax credits. So in addition to engaging community members, I did some projections for the state based on research. And even though adoption is happening now, really the need in the future by 2030 is quite large. So throughout the summer, created a toolkit that provides a lot of the best practices on EV planning strategies. And yeah, as I learned, and maybe you'll see on the next slide, it's a very complex process. So this toolkit is hopefully going to be really critical for municipalities. A lot of funding is available, and getting behind the planning curve and dealing with some of the costs of retrofitting charging or losing tourism from drivers of electric vehicles can be very costly. So next slide. With each strategy, one thing that found was very important, whether it's a promotional event that is informing residents about electrical vehicle basics or actually getting them to drive one, or it's actually procuring a battery electric bus for your school district, found that it's really important to anchor all of these strategies in the relative cost and effort it takes to implement them. So local communities can decide what works best for them based on their local context. But ultimately, I think the biggest takeaway was that municipalities who really strategically integrate electric vehicles into their larger community efforts, like adding public charging to downtown development plans or using electric vehicle batteries as power supplies for blackout responses, find that these communities who don't just view electric vehicles as one-off projects, but really institutionalize the electric vehicle by including it across local systems, are going to have the lowest cost to install public charging, and then also have the highest usage and highest rate of return on their investments. Next slide. And what are the next steps? So this toolkit is really a way to inform municipalities about different actionable strategies and provide them with additional resources. But the way I view this work is that it's growing. So it's not just institutionalizing the electric vehicle at the community level, but also at the regional and state level. And one of the most important things in this process are going to be regional groups like regional planning commissions that are going to be some binding agents that keep municipalities informed and ultimately working together to advocate for some of the policy changes that are going to be really important in New Hampshire, specifically things like electric rate changes and adding some incentives for electric vehicles. So these groups together can hopefully ensure that adoption in New Hampshire is going to be as full as it possibly can be, and the state is going to capture the economic and public health benefits that electric vehicles bring. And again, I just wanted to say I'm so thankful for the network of mentors that I have and the people that engage with me a part of this process. And I think that this group effort is going to be an important piece of electric vehicles going forward. I think that's something that I really learned this summer is the value of that coordinated group effort.